The drawer lock bit makes a great strong joint. It's a simple interlocking joint, and this bit is actually pretty straightforward to set up. It's used at one height. You set the height of the bit and you seldom move it. We've set the height of our bit right now, and the next thing we want to do is check the height of the bit and fine-tune our fence position. What we want to do is set the fence so that the smallest cutting surface of the bit is even with the face of the fence. Now, to do that, I'm going to run some of this Baltic birch plywood, and I've eyeballed this fence to make sure that the bottom piece is equal to it. By the way, good dust collection is important anytime you're doing joinery. Now, this reminds me of something. Always use a good push block. I'm going to go get one. Now I've got a really good push block and I'm ready to go here. I'm going to run two pieces. I'm doing both of these laying down on purpose. I'll show you that in just a moment. Now, you might notice the router is turning on and off. I'm using a foot switch just to make it more convenient for the video shoot. Now, I'm going to take the two notches that I've cut and turn them and put them together. And what I have is a joint that's too loose. It's not quite right yet. And to this end, we follow the same adage as a dovetail. Remember, when you're cutting dovetails, you heighten to tighten, meaning I'm going to raise the bit up slightly and make it a little bit tighter. What I want is that joint to just fit together snugly. Bottom out, just enough room for the glue. Right now we're just a little bit too loose. So I'm going to raise that bit just a little bit. This is a bit where just a little bit makes a big difference. I can reuse that one. I've already used that one once, so I'll run this side. Better mark that, I would forget. Now, and as you can see, it's too tight. I went too far. It's just a little bit too tight. So I'm going to go about halfway in between where I was. So one of the nice things about having a router, you can adjust easily. We'll try this one again. Now I'm intentionally doing this in a couple of setups so that you can see what it looks like when you've gone too far either way. Now what I will typically do in my own shop is I will cut one piece, I will run one piece, go and saw it in half on my chop saw, turn it and fit it together. We're just using multiple pieces for convenience here. We are very close right now. What we've got here is a joint now that very close. When we tap that together, that's going to be a good strong joint. So I think we're ready to make some drawers now. Now we're going to run the side pieces to the drawer, and I've added a featherboard. Now the featherboard serves an important function. It holds the wood in place, keeps it up against it. It also protects your fingers. Featherboards are an important tool. Now we've added, for convenience, we're using the Blue Max clamp system with the integral featherboard built into it. It just makes it a very simple system to set up. And we're going to run all 4 of our drawer pieces. As you can see, it puts the perfect groove in for the bottom. Now while I still have this set up, I'm going to stand a piece vertically, and I'm going to grab a scrap here. I'm going to use a scrap piece that has a good square edge on it, and I'm going to use that as a push block to help me hold that piece vertical. I'm going to cut both ends of it. Now, we do this to both sides of our drawer, but we do not run the front and back like this. We've got to change the fence position, which we'll do now. Now we're going to set our fence position. I'm going to pull my zero clearance fence back just a little bit to give me some clearance. And I've loosened one end of my fence. I turn the bit, being careful that it's not got power to it, and to where the bit is at the apex of the curve perpendicular to the fence, meaning that it's at the largest part of its cutting circle. It's sticking straight out. I loosen the fence and I move it back a little ways. I take my sideboards, or a piece that's as thick as they are, and I set it on top of the bit. Now what I'm looking for is for that bit to just be the thickness, stick out the thickness of the material. I want to be able to just barely feel that little tooth there. And I'm going to tighten my fence up. Notice I did not change the height of the bit. That's now the proper position to run the fronts and the backs of my drawer. And we're going to do that right now. I'm going to use my same scrap piece. I'm going to run it against the fence. Now this is one of those situations where we're going to also want to take and put our zero clearance fence back in, so we'll start it up and do so. Now, I take my front and my back, set the other pieces out of the way, and I use it perpendicular to the fence, my scrap piece as a block to push it, and I'm going to run it through like that. That's the front piece, and as you can see, it made a beautiful cut. We're going to do the other one, and then it'll be time to make the bottom for our drawer. Now, there's the sides, the front and the back. Let's see how they fit together now. Just like that. What do you know? A really nice fit. We're going to make the bottom now, but to do that we need to measure it. Before we go ahead and talk about the bottom, this box, the one we just made, is designed to have a false front put on it, meaning that you would use another piece of wood over the top of it. If you would prefer to have it made directly into the front, all you have to do is move the fence back an additional distance so that when you're cutting that piece, it cuts it slightly deeper. And then your front will overhang your sides like that. Now, we're going to make the bottom to our drawer, and as you can see, I've just got this stuck together here. It is not glued or screwed. And I've measured from the depth of the groove to the depth of the grooves in all directions, and I've cut a piece of 1/4 inch material. But one of the things you'll find is that that groove, it will not fit. 1/4 inch material will not fit in there. And this is where our bit comes into play again. Now I'm going to set these pieces to one side just a moment. I have reset the fence to the position we were in first, and the way I did that was I just used another piece that I had cut and I put the groove in there and just used it to reset the fence. Now I'm going to take the drawer bottom and, laying it down flat, I'm going to run it on all 4 sides through the bit. And what we're going to do is cut a little bit of a taper on there, and it will make it fit in the groove that we cut. So here we go. There we go. Now we have cut all around on our drawer. And I'd like to point out that that was run with the side down that will eventually become the inside of the drawer. Now let's see how we fit. We're going to take one side off, putting the cut side down. Now, of course, we would assemble it with glue, perhaps a few small brads in each side, but that produces a very strong, square, very solid drawer. Now, another nice technique you'll want to do when you're building your drawers is take a round over bit in a handheld router and round over the inside edge of all 4 sides and 3 of the outside edges. Don't round over the front edge of the front in case you put a false front on it. You wouldn't want it there. But that adds a nice finished touch to your drawer. Well, before we move on, I would like to just kind of recap the drawer lock bit. First of all, we set the height of it using the setup block. And we set the fence position so that the smallest diameter is equal to the front of the fence. So during the first operation, we're just going to be using that little nib that sticks out. You run the sides of your drawer so that they should have these pieces, the groove for the bottom and the sides, against the fence, standing up, using a push block like so. That cuts those grooves. You do that in both side pieces. When doing the front and back of the drawers, you will put the groove for the bottom and then reset the fence position by using the material on top of the fence. Remember, that's the same thickness as the side. Move the fence back until the bit just is flush with that. Run those pieces vertically and away you go. Now, that'll make the corner joints. To fit the bottom, reset the fence to the same position you had when you made this cut and run the bottom through the bit on all 4 sides. Then everything will go together nice and square and you'll have great drawers. That's the drawer lock bit. Now, let's move on to the glue joint.